All right, last paragraph here, ladies and gentlemen, for assignment number 3. The last paragraph requires you to give your opinion on the issue. So in the case of the assignment we have been looking at, which obviously is not going to be the assignment that you get, however, the format is the same. The process is the same. So if you follow the process, you should be fine. So on the left, we have our little intro blurb right there. And then we have one of the perspectives on the issue, that being Citizen 1, who says no to mandatory voting. And then we have Citizen 2, who says yes to mandatory voting. And at this point, guys, we have satisfied almost every requirement of this assignment, other than where we give our opinion on the issue. So I'm going to write the 4th paragraph on the screen to the right, and you'll see how it works out. So the big thing, guys, that I want for assignment number 3, paragraph number 4, where you give your opinion, is I want you very clearly to address whether or not you agree or disagree with the issue. In this case, mandatory voting. So I want you to start with a very clear statement of what you believe and why. So I'm just going to pop this down a little bit so I can bring my ugly face down a little. Here we go. So right off the bat, right? When it comes to the issue of mandatory voting, I believe, and I want like an I statement. I believe that the government of Canada, you're either going to be should or should not have mandatory voting, right? And me personally, my own personal opinion is that it should not be mandatory. Because again, I believe in freedom, crazily enough. So I believe that the government of Canada should not make voting mandatory. Sorry, I'm just going to highlight this here and then double space so I can just see how it looks. There we go. I believe this because in a liberal society, where we have freedoms and rights, it is not the business of government to tell people they should be voting. While I agree, now I'm just going and kind of expanding on my opinion a bit, giving a bit of nuance, right? While I agree that voting is a fundamentally important aspect of our democracy and that all Canadians should do it, I do not believe that they have to do it, because that is how living in a free society works. As such, so very clear statement, right? This is what I believe. Okay, now to expand on our 4th paragraph, guys, tell me which citizen you agree with and why, and tell me which citizen you disagree with and why, and that will add to your opinion, right? Your analysis of how you feel. So as such, I agree with citizen number 1, who says that voting should not be something that is forced upon Canadians. Now let's expand on that a little bit. This citizen says that we live in a free country, and I agree. If we require voting to be mandated, what will be next to be mandated? It is a slippery slope when government starts to dictate the actions of free and private citizens. Okay, makes sense, right? So I'm just talking about why I agree with citizen one, then I kind of expand on his argument and also mine, again, adding to the analysis. When it comes to citizen two, I fully disagree with this citizen and her perspective. Sorry, let me just pause here for a sec. All right, let's continue here. So this citizen mentions mandatory voting being used in nations abroad. I find this to be an affront on the freedoms of Canadians, as abstaining from voting is a form of protest that government needs to take seriously. If people are not going out to vote, they need to ask why. For instance, here in Canada, many people are dismayed by our first past the post voting system, which appears to create false majorities. And what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just adding to why people perhaps don't vote, right? And it is legitimate. It's legitimate. In a free nation, it is legitimate to choose to not do something. The right to do something also means the right to not do something. For instance, here in Canada, many people are dismayed by our first past the post, I guess it doesn't like the capital T, voting system, which appears to create false majorities and also discounts the votes of many people. If the government wants to see higher voting turnout, then they need to ensure that the votes of all Canadians count, and that the will of the people is followed according to the popular vote from the election. Also, to fine people like Australia creates an economic hardship for some people, and the government has no legitimate claim to the money that anyone makes except for the person who makes it. I don't know, that's a little clunky, but anyways, what I'm trying to say is the government has no claim to the money that I work for, right? Those, as such, while we want to have a strong democracy, mandatory voting is not the cure. I would suggest that more education about the importance of voting and the history of voting will help demonstrate why one does not want to take this for granted. This could convince many apathetic voters to get out there and vote. Government compulsion, or we'll say government compelling people to do something through threat isn't always the solution. Boom. I'm just going to move this up. There we go. All right. Yeah, guys, I mean, that has a lot of stuff there. So I clearly state my belief. I touch upon which citizen I agree with, and then I rip apart citizen number 2, and then I give potential solutions to the issue, right? That is a nice, thorough analysis. And that's about it, right? That took me, what, 11 minutes to pump out? I do not expect yours to be this long, but the more detail you go into to convince me that you've thought about all possibilities inside of this issue, the better you are definitely going to do. All right. So yeah, if you guys got questions, make sure you email me. Peace. Love you as always, and we'll see you later.